Hi guys, welcome to this short course in Microsoft Access looking at how to create a contact relationship management database. So a few slides just to cover what is the content for this course. First of all, we're going to look at tables and relationships, quick look at forms, how to create a sales funnel, how to create an invoice and a statement in Access, sale reports in Access in general, how to use macros, how to create your own navigation pane, and look at auto start features, and then how to update the database tables as you're going along. So a few slides coming up, a bit more detail for each of those. First one, tables and relationships. Going to look at how to create a relationship, so how to relate tables together using primary keys and foreign keys. How to set join types. A quick look at the different join types. There are 3 join types, and it's important that you understand how they work. And then how to create a query based on multiple tables, which will bring those relationships through. Then we're going to look at forms. We're going to look at how to create a data input form. It's a simple form. How to create a form that looks at multiple tables or queries. And how to create form controls. So you might have a search feature on there, or you might have a button to close the form or go somewhere else. Then we'll look at how to create a sales funnel. So that will be, first of all, you have to create a sales report. How to create a modern chart, which will be the sales funnel, the visual part of it. And then how to combine the two together to give yourself a sales funnel. How to create invoices access. So we'll look at how to create queries with calculations. Those calculations will add up things, sales, etc. How to create calculations in reports, or how to add them to reports. How to create an invoice per customer, so that'll be using a parameter query to do that. Statements in Access, similar sort of things. How to create a customer statement. How to use parameter queries for that purpose as well. And how to generate a report based on the parameter query that you've just created. Sales reports in Access. How to create a dynamic sales report, so this is a different report for each person or each group of people. How to combine sales data. How to use custom reports. Moving on to macros, we'll have a quick look at what a macro is, how you can create a simple macro, and how you can add those macros to forms. We're then going to look at how to create a navigation pane. You've got a navigation pane preloaded, but you can create your own. How you can create that. So create a database navigation pane first thing. How to use the auto start features in the database options, and how to use the auto exec macros or macro to bypass the startup features that are in options. And last but not least, we're going to look at how to update the database tables once we've got it all set up. So this is using update queries, how to create an update query, how to run an update query, and then most importantly the dangers of update queries if you're not quite sure how they work. So that is the course content. That is what we're going to cover. So hopefully this course is great for you. Thank you for signing up for it, and I'll see you on the videos. What I would like to do in this session is show you how to create a customer relationship management system. Now, I have an Excel file with the tables that I want to create for this system. So here you can see I've got 5 tables. Customers, a marketing table, so I can record where people find us, courses that people can do, a status, pending initial, second call, first call, callback, and all that sort of stuff, and then a booking table where people can book courses. So I'm going to create these 5 tables in an Access database, and then follow this through over the next few videos and create a fully functional CRM database. So first of all, let's create this customers table. So we need customer ID, company address, postcode, email, and website. So back to Access, I've already got table 1 open, but I'm just going to go into design and call that TBL customers. And then we're ready to do customer ID as our primary key. So the primary key is already set there. If I didn't want that, I could take it off there. I can leave that on auto number. That's okay, because every time I add a new customer, it'll just add a new person. So just quickly looking at the Excel table. So we want the company, address, city. So company, coming down, address, coming down, city, postcode, and then email and website. Just quickly check that again. So we've got more postcode. Yep. So that's good. Now I need to set the data types. All of these are short text, which is great. It's up to you whether you change this to hyperlink or not. I'm going to leave that as text, but I'm going to put this to hyperlink because it is a web page, so I'll set that to hyperlink. Alright, so there is that table. I can just save that. When I view that, you can see that it's all ready to go. And if I need to make any changes at a later date, I can come back and add some extra details. Now, going back into the Excel file, I need a marketing table. Now, this is just a list of options, and I need a courses table, and this is just a list of courses. So this is just single column tables, and so is this one. So this could just be lookup tables, to be honest, and then this is going to be a table where you're going to have some data to be entered. So I think I'll do this one next, booking. So if I go back to Access and create a new table, table design, booking ID is a primary key, and then date of booking, in fact date of training. I'm not really bothered about the date of booking, and that will be a date time field, and I'll set a impact mask on that shortly. So what else did I have in there? So have a quick look. So we've got course, amount, location. So course, amount, location, and a quick look at the Excel sheet again. Tutor, customer ID, tutor, customer ID, so that I can join it to the customers table. And quick look, customer ID, invoice paid, and PO number. Invoice paid, PO number if there is one, and that's just going to be a yes no field. Invoice paid, yes no. Customer ID is going to be a number field because that is an auto number. Tutors text, location is text, amount is going to be currency, course, probably going to do a lookup, date of training, need to set that as an input mask. It's going to ask me to save this. Save this as DBL booking. Okay. No, primary key. I'll set a primary key in a second. So this is the format that I want, short date. So it's like that. That'll do. Finish. And then set the primary keys, booking ID. Primary key, booking ID. Save that. Let's just have a quick check at this table. Number, location, course, date of training, tutor, okay, that'll do for now. So I'll save that, have a quick look, and then maybe I could add VAT and things like that at a later date. In fact, I better add it now actually. So I'll call it VATable. So sometimes you don't actually have VAT, and then I'll do a calculated field to look at the amount. So that will be a calculated field, and that should trigger the expression builder. So it's going to be amount times 0.2. Okay to that. Let's have a quick look. Save. So if I put 100 in there just to check this, I need an ID number. Yeah, it's worked. I need to set that to currency. That works okay. Back into design, format to currency, down the bottom there, currency. Save that. Now close this. Now I need a table for courses, so create a table, table design, and this is just going to be one column of courses or course. It's going to be short text, and I'm going to save this as TBL courses, and I'm going to have this as a lookup table, so LU I like to put on there so I know what that is. Click OK to that. I don't really need a primary key, so no. And then I can look at this and you can start adding your courses. So Access, Excel, Word, etc. I'll just do a couple. Probably need to qualify these with the level. Access intro, and then Excel intro, Word intro, etc. PowerPoint intro. So you just add each type, so I would have access, intermediate, and so on and so on. I'll just leave that for now. Close that one down, close that one down. Now go back to my Excel spreadsheet. What do I need next? I need a marketing one. So a lookup for marketing. So new table, create, design. So this is going to be marketing. Table is going to be marketing. Let's just save the table as marketing. TBL marketing. Okay, I need a field. So let's have a quick look. We need a website, social media. So website, social media, word of mouth used before, word of mouth used before, and another quick look. Online classroom mail shot, online classroom mail shot, and then customer ID, record ID. Record ID needs to be the primary key for this one. A customer ID, that needs to be a number as well, so just have that as a number. That needs to be a number, customer ID, because it's a number in customers. And the rest of these need to be yes no fields. So if I just use my tab key to come across and type Y. So we can do a bit of analysis on this, follow it through and do a little sales funnel later on. So that's okay. Save that one, call it TBL marketing. Yeah, it's remembered that. Okay, let's have a quick look at what that would look like. So they're going to be little tick boxes when you do a record. Close that down. Now the last table is status. So this is going to be a table called status. Create table, and so look at the fields. So status is going to be record ID and customer ID. So record ID is going to be the primary key, and customer ID is going to be the way I can link it into this. So let's have a quick look. So we want pending initial second. So pending initial second. Then we had first callback 1, 2, and 3. Callback 1. Start an L. Callback 2, callback 3, callback 2, callback 3. These are all text fields. Have a quick look at that one. What else? Lost, booked, lost, booked, lost. Okay, so let's change these. That's a number field. So is that one? Number. So I think we could maybe have a date field in here, date of call, callback 1. Maybe I should put some dates in here. So callback, let's do a date. Let's make this a date. And callback 2, date. And callback 3 can be a date. Booked is going to be yes. Yes, no. Lost can be yes, no. And pending can be yes, no as well. And initial yes, no. In fact, they can all be yes, no's. So again, you're just going to use this as analysis. So we're saving this table as TBL status. In fact, I need another date in here. So initial date, initial inquiry date. I didn't have that on my little spreadsheet, so I'll change that to date time. Now each of these date times you need to use the input mask, so I'll just save the table, otherwise it's just going to ask me. And then input mask for that one is going to be short text, short time should I say, short date even, finish. And these three need to be short date as well. Irritating that it does that each time. Short date, finish, short date, finish, and that one's short date. Input mask, short date, finish. Now, you may find as you're doing this that you might need to adjust some of these fields as you start typing some test data into test database. But if I have a quick look at that, and obviously when you use this, you'll realize that if there's any mistakes, you can then fix them before you start doing loads of queries and loads of forms and reports. But let's have a close on that one. And so we've got our 5 tables, and those are the 5 tables that we had initially. Obviously this needs filling out, the courses one. Now what I want to do let's have a look at the bookings one. So we've got booking course. I want to look up on that field, so I can look at the courses table, lookup. So if I go into design on this course, go to lookup, change this to a combo box, and it is a table that I have, and the table is called courses lookup. Save that, have a look. So now I should have a drop down list of those courses I typed in there. Location, I could also do a lookup. Tutors, I haven't got a list of tutors, but again you could create a table for tutors, which I will do actually, because if you don't, you can just have anything in there. So table design, call it tutor ID, first name, surname, and again you can come back in here and add any extra fields that you want. So if I save that one as TBL tutor, okay to that one, I'll set primary key with that, tutor ID, save, and just add a couple of people. In fact, go back into that, that needs to be set to auto number, so it just gives me an auto number, so I don't have to worry about that. Save. So if I put my name in there as a tutor, now there's a mistake I've made straight away, so perhaps I should have this as just one field. If I go back in there, because I want this as a lookup table, so just delete first name. So instead of surname, I'll just call it full name. I was going to type name, but it doesn't like name, so it lets you use it, but so then I will put my full name in there, like so. And okay, so there's my little lookup. So now on tutor, I can do a lookup to that table. So tutor lookup combo lookup at tutors, table tutors. I need to put LU on the end of that. Okay, it's looking at the ID field. Don't really need that actually, so let me just go and change that. I don't need an ID field. It's only a lookup table. Delete. I could have changed that. Save. No, that's it. Yeah, so you can just select a person now. You can select a course on that one. So that's okay. Close that down, rename that LU at the end of it, just so it's not a proper table as such, it's just a lookup table. Now what we need to do is link these tables together, so I'm going to database tools, relationships, just going to drag on customers, expand that so you can see the fields, and booking, expand that. So customer ID to customer ID, so one customer can make many bookings. Enforce referential integrity, one-to-many relationship, create. Okay, this doesn't want me to do that because I've got a record already in the bookings table without an ID, without a person, so let's just get rid of that for a minute. It's got customer ID 0, that's why that is. I don't want to start filling this up with information, so just delete that, close that down, try that again. It's important that you do get enforce this. This does need to be on. That will stop you creating orphan records like you just had there in bookings. Now that lets you do it. So that one customer can have many bookings. Don't need these LU ones. Now marketing. If I have a look at marketing, I'm open that one up a little bit. One customer will respond many times, hopefully, to marketing questions. How did you hear from us? That sort of stuff. And then status, the status table. Again, this has got the customer ID field as the primary key. And then enforced referential integrity, create. And then you just need to tidy this up a little bit so you can see this. But what I want to be able to see is the flow of this database. So let's move customers into the middle. So customers is the main form. So if you look at this, a customer can book many courses. A customer will have potentially many marketing responses. Could be the same one if they keep booking, or it could be this one used before. And their status, if they're inquiring, will be one of these. booked or lost or whatever. So I'm going to save those relationships, and everything is ready to start getting some data in and filling some data in, which I'll do on the next video. But for now, that is the end of this one. So in the next video, we'll look at filling some data in. So I'll already type all the data in so we don't have to waste time doing that. And then we'll look at creating queries and forms to interrogate this data. And then the session after that, we'll look at doing reports to get the information, the management information out of this. We may have to tweak a few things as we go in if they're not working before we go live with it. But hopefully this is set the scene, and I'll see you on the next one. Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of the CRM database. In this session, we're going to look at creating forms that will interact or input data into the tables that we created earlier. So a quick look at the form customers. So this is the interface to put data into the various tables that we created in the last session. So I have a button there for add new customer, next record, and find company. I've added 5 companies, so we've got some information there, so you can just click on a company and it'll show you what each of those companies has booked, if anything. So this company has asked information about Access and Excel. One of them it's booked, one's pending. The one that's booked is listed underneath. And then the market research at the bottom there, website and then word of mouth or used before is ticked. And if I go on to the next record, you can see that information is filled in for each client. Next record and so on, like so. So what we're going to do is recreate this form so you can see how I did it. But what I won't do is spend ages doing the formatting to make it pretty. So I'll just leave it fairly rough and ready, but you'll get the idea. If I close this form down, quickly look at the tables that we did before. So we had a booking table. There's some information in there. Now I have added an extra column, this total column, and I've also changed the details in this column. So before it was just adding 20% on, but it only needs to add 20% on for VAT if the company is paying VAT. So a quick design view on that one. If we go into design view and have a quick look at that. So VATable, yes and no. VAT has now got this if statement in front of it. So if I click into there and then just open that expression builder up a bit so you can see it. So it's only going to add the VAT if VATable is true. If VATable is not true, it's not going to add anything. So I've just added that in there. And remember, you have to put the field names in square brackets. So if VATable equals true, it's got a tick. Add the VAT, otherwise don't add the VAT. And then the total column is adding the amount plus VAT. So if the VAT has got anything in it, it will add it together. So that's that one. I didn't make any changes, but I'll say yes to that. I've added a few extra courses. It's just a lookup table. Customers. I haven't really done anything to customers. It's still the same as it was. Marketing, if I have a quick look at that, that is the same as it was as well. Nothing added there. But obviously you can add things if you realize that you're not capturing a certain type of data. Now status, I did add a few things in there. So what I've added is what was the information requested, and then I've got a drop down list there which you can select multiple options on. So this one, for example, has got Excel and Access selected, and I've added a notes column. I also got rid of the column that was there before. Can't remember what it was called now, but I got rid of it, and I've just got callback 1, 2 and 3 with dates next to it. And again, as you start using the database, you may want to come back and add or delete extra things that you find that you're not using. You only really get to know that sort of thing when you start using test data like I am at the moment. And when I do the next session, I may come back and delete or change things again. It's a slight pain, but you have to do it. Now, how have I set this up? So if I go into design, on the initial info requested, it was a lookup looking at the courses table, which is that one I've just shown you. But the difference is I've got allow multiple values set to yes. So when you select anything in here, you can tick multiple things and it will allow you to do that.
and then the notes field is what it says on the tin. You add in notes. On the tutor table, I've added a couple of tutors just to give a few more people, but nothing drastic in that one. Just a quick reminder of the relationships that we did. So we've got customers as your main table, and then falling off that is one-to-many links to the bookings, to the marketing, and to the status. I mean, marketing, when I started filling this in, I'm not sure whether I would keep adding how did you hear about us every single time. If they heard about us off the web, every other time once they've done a booking is going to be because they've used us before. So I don't know whether I would want to capture that second, third and fourth data if they book multiple times, but it's there to be filled in if it's required. Okay, save that change. Right, so to create a form, so basically we're going to recreate this customer's form in a rough and ready version. So I'm going to create form design, and the property sheet is already on, so I'll just open that up again, and record source is going to be customers. The fields are there, so just select all the fields and drop them on like that. And then obviously some of these fields are going to need to be bigger if they're capturing large data sets, like a web address or an email. Now, it's a bit fiddly sometimes to get your mouse to sit right on top of the box to widen them, but I'll just quickly do this. I won't spend too long on it. Company name obviously needs to be widened. So that'll do for that. And now the subform. So the subforms from up here, subform sub-report. So the first one is just going to go along there. You'll have to resize it in a minute. So these are the ones I've already got, but I'll go get one from scratch. So let's do the status one first. Yes, it is the status one, is it? I can't look at it. Yes, it is. I've got the things there. So I want all the fields across. I don't need a customer ID field across because it's going to be part of this subform, so that would just be a duplication. It picks up the link that we have in the relationship window, so that's great. And then finish. I can get rid of that. Now it looks like a form in the back of this, but it's going to be sitting as a table. Just make it a little bit wider. Have a quick look at that. Yeah, now I've got a value there. So I just have to go into design and see what's causing that. I'm just going to delete that and add it again, and then just select everything and then get it to stack. Okay, let's have a look at that one. For requesting, now it's working, so I don't know why that didn't pick that up, but it seems to be okay now. I just need to move that back across. Record of inquiry, yeah, so I'll just save that for now. So I'll call this FRM customers 1, customers 1, so I've already got one. And I need to make this a bit wider and less deep, so if I go back into the design view and click on this, get rid of the field list for a second, scroll down, click on my form, subform. Now quite often finding these little icons to adjust this is quite difficult. It's because there's no space really for you to get below it, so it's best to make the form a bit deeper, and then you can have a look at that, see what this looks like. That's okay, it's probably a bit too big, but it doesn't matter. Now I want to get rid of these navigation options down the bottom there, so if I put my property sheet on, click on the form, this control, and record selectors is set to yes. I'm just going to change that to no. And if you decide later on when you start using the database that that is not good, you can just come back in and put them back on. So they're off there. That's great. So if I just go through the customers, you can see some of the data is already there, and that's a blank one. Go back to the first person. So that's the first one. Now we want the bookings subform in there. So we'll go back up to the top and we find the subform icon, draw a rectangle. This time you're going for the bookings table, which is there. You don't want the customer ID because it's already linked via the relationship. It's picking that up there. Look, I'll just go finish, and then you can get rid of the title. You don't have to get rid of the title, it's totally up to you. So I'm already going to use this opportunity while this is still on the screen to get rid of these navigation options, and then I need to do the same sort of thing with this one. Make the form space a little bigger, click on that box, pick up the handle on the right hand side and take it across a bit further than the other one, I think, probably, and it doesn't need to be as deep. This is the burn of my life trying to find that. Okay, let's have a quick look at that one. So you can, student numbers doesn't need to be that big. Location, I'll just bring them in. You're going to get hashes if there's not enough space, but you can just get this so you can manage it and then save it. Total, it's a bit further across, bring that back. That's okay. Go back into design, just move it across a little bit, and then come down to do the last one, which was next one, marketing. I need them all across. Take the customer ID back over. Next, picks up the relationship. I'm just going to finish at that point. I don't think that needs to be anywhere near the same sort of length, but you get the idea. You can spend quite a considerable amount of time. Like I've just clicked off that, click this button in the corner to select this object, and you can just make it smaller. I don't want this subtotal there, I can go. And I also want the navigation options off, so the property sheet on, format, click on this record selectors, no, have a quick look. Scrolling down, so this one's a bit too big, so let's just make that a little bit smaller. In fact, I could probably make them all a little bit smaller. Click on that one. Then I should be able to just move this one up, and then do the same on that one. And then I should be able to get the other one and just push that up a little bit. And I'm not going to spend any more time than that moving those about. That looks okay, so I'm going to save that for now. Now I need to put those buttons in the search box that was up there. So back into design, command button. So this is just going to be a new, find new record, add new record. So add customer, that'll do. And then another one. Find next. So I'll just go to the next record, finish. And you just highlight those two and use the arrange tab to make them nice and even. And then the other thing that I had on my form was a lookup, a find or a search. So that was design, that was a combo box, which is this one, combo box, and just draw a rectangle there. So these are the options. I don't want any of these, I just want to use the find, and I want to find company next. So there's a list of your companies, it's hiding the key. Find company, finish, and let's just move that and put this on top. That doesn't need to be that big, so I'll just make it a little bit smaller and have a quick look. Does that work? Pick a company. Yeah. Also, if you just type a letter in there and press enter, it'll go to that company if it's the right one. So that's the lookup. So now if we want to create a new customer, we go add customer, it goes blank. So let's add a customer, so we'll call this Wright Brothers, address 1 Red Street. It's quite hard to remember addresses. Call it Bradford, postcode BD2 RT, email info@wrightbros.com, website www.wrightbros.com. So I'm making all these up, hopefully there's nobody with that email address. But there is. So let's say that they've just inquired. So initial inquiry date was today. Now pending, I don't want that there, I want that over here. Let's save that and save this form as well. So what are they after? I need this over here as well, so let's move this back. So they're after Access and Excel. Oops. Access. Just leave it as well. Let's do Access and Excel. Okay. Want training in Leeds. Callback not needed. So let's say that these ones book, so they book it. So now you can enter the date of training. So this one, let's say they want the training today. Highly unlikely. You can select the courses. So they can't do both courses at the same time. So let's say they wanted to book 6 students on Access Intro, tutor me, no PO number. So move across. So you need to adjust these widths, obviously. 6 students, let's say that's £500. They are paying VAT, so that gives you the VAT total, and the total at the end there reflects that, bringing those columns in. And also, let's say the 11th, 08/2020, they want Excel training. Excel intro is what they requested. You fill that in. Still in Leeds. Different tutor, let's say it's a different tutor. Brian Green, no PO number. Some companies don't use PO numbers. It is VATable. Let's bring that column in a bit and that one a bit, so you can see everything. So it's automatically, the calculation fields are working everything out at the end there. So that's how that bit works. You might have asked them, or you should have asked them where they found your information. So let's say it was the website. So still, I mean, they found the website. So this course is going to be used before. You know, so this slightly becomes negated. It's only the initial inquiry and the initial booking that you're probably after. So whether you fill the rest of this in is just totally up to you. But that's so far how this is working. So the next phase is that's the data input. The next phase is to get the business analysis and the trends out of this database. So we want to know what people are booking. We want to know how they're finding us, and we want to know how many courses and how often they come back, and that sort of information. Also, how long do they take from initial inquiry to booking? All those sort of things we can look at doing on this database. We're setting up queries to do that and then running reports off that. But that's going to be on the next session, looking at the queries and maybe some of the reports that we can pull from that. But that's the end of this session. Hopefully you've enjoyed that, and thank you for your time. In this session, we're going to look at creating a sales funnel based on courses booked, pending, or lost from our table. If I just show you or remind you what that is. So we've got a form here with customers, inquiry, pending, booked, or lost. And then you've got the bookings there, and then some marketing information. So now I just want to look at pending, booked, and lost. And then I want to create a graph to represent that as a report. So if I close that down and just open the report so you can see what I mean. So this is basically the end product. So 66% of all inquiries have ended up with a booking, which is good. And there's a breakdown of pendings. So there's 12 inquiries, 3 are pending still, 1 has been lost, and 8 have been booked. Now that is coming or being driven by a query. The query is the sales funnel query, so I'll just run that. You can see the figures there, and there's a formula working that out. Now if I go into design on that, you can see how I've done this. So it's just expressions that I've set there. So I've activated the totals feature, and then I've just done the expressions. So I'll try and recreate that as best I can, as quick as I can. So new query, create query in design, and we're going to add each of these elements. So we need the status table. We also need the customers table. The links are already there, should be there. So we want pending, we want booked and lost. And then if I just have a quick look at the other one, sales funnel, what else do we want? We want customers as well. So customers. Now if I run that query, it just gives us a breakdown like that. These are all yes, no, true or false fields. So the ticks would be -1 and the blanks would be 0. So what I'm going to do is, if I just put the totals feature on and do sum, so that's what you would naturally think you can do, sum, and then run it. I get these minus numbers, and sum of customers has come up with 60. So I've changed it so I'm doing that just wants to be a count, not a sum. But these need to be all expressions, and they need to be put at the top. Now what I've done is I've used the ABS function, which will make a negative into a whole number. So basically sum ABS pending. That's what I need to do, and then I've just put running total in front of that. So I'll go back into design. I'll put this to count, see if that makes a difference. Have a quick look. Yeah, 12. Then I can move that to the beginning, so that one's okay. So all of these need to be deleted and created as expressions. So the first one is just going to be equals sum, open bracket, pending, square bracket, close the sum. See what happens with that. Didn't like that, so let's have a quick back look at the other one. So sum ABS, so I need to change that to expression, and I need to use the ABS function. So not group by, expression, and when I run that, let's have a look. Still got -3, so this is where the ABS will come in. Sum ABS, let's have a quick look at that one. Sum ABS pending, and that's what I need to do for each one. So sum, and then I'm just going to zoom this up so you can see if I put ABS in there, just as a whole number, open bracket, and then close the bracket at the end, change the name. So this is going to be pending total. So that's how it all works. Click OK, run it. So now it's saying 3 instead of -3. And then I do the same for the others. So it's going to be lost. So the title is going to be lost total, colon. Now sum, open bracket, ABS, open bracket, and then lost inside square brackets, close the 2 brackets at the end, and change this to expression. Check it worked. 1, that's correct, there was only 1, and then the last one is going to be, just make a bit more space, this is going to be booked total, colon, sum, open bracket, ABS, open brackets, and then booked in square brackets, close the 2 normal brackets, change this to expression, and run. There you go. So that's the query. I'm not going to save that, so I've already got it saved there. Close that one down. Don't save it. Close this down. Now to create the report, this one, I'm going to create a blank one, a blank report design should I say. Go to the property sheet and select sales funnel, that one, and then I need to insert a chart, and I want a bar chart and a stacked bar chart. So you just draw the rectangle like so, and then you get the data from here. So sales funnel, and then you've got this little preview which isn't great, but this is your company total field pending, so that's what I want first, followed by pending lost and booked. Now on this one you've got chart title. You can change all of this, but I want to change the chart title, so type chart title. So this is going to be called sales funnel. Just click away from that. Now these, I want to change these, so back to this one. So if I go to each one of these, and I don't want to take that off, I want to change the format of that. So I'll go to the top and pending total, so there's the title, so it just wants to say pending. To delete that, make a space, select the next one down, get rid of the sum of, put a space in it, select the next one down, get rid of that, make a space, and then the last one, get rid of the sum of, make a space. So you've got rid of, you've renamed the labels. So I think I'm happy with this, so I can get rid of, click on to the rest of this, put the fields back on, because this %1 is a field I want to be at the top. Just make a space for that, and these need to be a little bit bigger so I can change the font. So format, if I put the font size to 20 for both of these, you can see what this looks like. 20, and bold and bold, and then go back to design, have a quick look, see what that looks like. Something is truncated, so you need to fix that, but there you go, you've got your graph. And if I just make that a little bit bigger, now you've got this display label. So if I'm on the loss total, so if I tick that, it should put the data labels on there for you, like so. And then if I go back and have a look, you've got your figures like this. So this, remember, oops, I still need to fix that. This, remember, is picking up the data from your bookings. So as soon as your bookings change, this will show you, and that will change, hopefully go up and not down. But there you go, that's the end of that little bit. So we've created our little sales funnel. So in the next session we'll be looking at creating an invoice, and I may have to edit some of these fields, as that is usually the case when you start creating things, or you suddenly remember you want to do something. You have to sort of go back to the basic tables and add or delete or change different things. But that's the next session, that's the end of this one, so thank you for your time. Just a quick update from the last session, things that I've added. So you can see there I've added a button, preview invoice, and if I just click on that, it's asking me for an invoice number. I'll just put 11 in there and then click OK. So that's the invoice that I've created, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Just close that. It's also got this little box which says what is the next, or tells me what the next invoice number is. So what I did there was I went back to the bookings table. If I just go into design on that, yeah, I just added a calculated field at the end there, which basically looks at the invoice number and then adds 1 to it. And then I just add that into the booking table on here. So that's always going to be telling me the next number. So the next number is 12. So when I get a booking, I can just add that in. The other thing I did is, if I go into design on this form, I've changed what this form is looking at. Record source is now the bookings query. I'll just come out of that, as opposed to the table customers. And then what I've done is just created a separate form to input new customers, straightforward form into a table. So the bookings table and the bookings form are the main input mechanisms that I'm going to be using. So to create this invoice, what I've done is when I click that, I needed to type in the invoice number, and then it shows me the invoice. The next step after this will be to have a button that automatically emails it to the client. But to get that to work, I had to create a parameter query. So if I go into design on this query, what that meant was adding this parameter query like that, enter invoice number, which is what comes up. So that's what I have done. Now to create that invoice, let's just do that from scratch. So we are going to create report in report design. We need to go into design and activate the property sheet, select query customer booking, just get rid of the property sheet, and then activate the field list so you can see all the fields. So I need the company, but before I get the company I need to do some grouping. So let's click on this, group and sort, and then add a group, company. Now I do want a footer, a group footer, so without a footer section, so I'm just going to change that to with a footer section. So then I should have a company footer, because I'm going to do some calculations there later on. And I can just hide this out of the way, that's what I need. Now this one is not going to be as pretty as the one I've just showed you. I'm not going to spend ages and ages lining things up, but let's just go through it. Let's put that on there. The company is going into the company header. And then what I don't need their address, I just need the booking details. So date of training can come into details, just move that up there into the top corner. Date of training, what was the course, just push that up and come left a bit. And student numbers, so student numbers, push that up, just using my arrow key to push that up and come across. And if I come location onto the next line down, give myself a bit of space, just push it up so it's onto the grid. Location, don't need tutor. PO number, I'm going to put in the company header. If there is a PO number, it will appear there. And invoice number while I'm doing numbers. That goes up to the top as well. And then you can come across. You might want to bring these down actually. If I bring that down, use a large square block. Same with this. Just make a bit more space. Same with the company, and then it may need to expand slightly. So you sit on the right side and just pull that over. PO number is not too big, invoice number is not too big. And you keep having a look at this. It's asking me for an invoice number because it's based on the parameter. So it's a bit higgledy-piggledy at the moment, but I can fix this shortly. I'll need to put that on top as well. So back into design. And let's just put all these, sort all these out. Just put that underneath there. And course underneath course. Location underneath location. Just bring that one down a bit. And then student numbers underneath student numbers, like so. Okay, and then I need in the amount. So let's put the amount there. Put the amount on top as well. Move that across. And then I don't need the VATable, I'll just leave that one off. I'll just put the VAT amount. If it's 0, it'll say 0. I did put that on the other one, but having thought about it, I don't really need that. And then the total is the last thing. Put the total up like that. And then move that across. So this is the fiddle bit, which takes a lot of time. And you keep looking to see what it looks like. You might want to take the parameter query off. So these boxes, I don't really want all these boxes on there. And I've got this gap as well, but that'll disappear in a minute. When I pull this sort of space up, that's what's causing that gap, all this. So let's just push that up there and then have a quick look again. And you can see it's now come up quite close. So I do need to do a bit of defining here. So let's have a look at date of training. Let's make that bold. Course, the title bold. And student numbers bold. Company also needs to be bold. I'm going to highlight that row, make them all bold. Location needs to be bold, and these lot need to be bold as well. Now to work out the sums, the total, because there's 2 courses on invoice 11, 2 dates of training, I need to do some totals at the bottom here. So if I just pull this down a bit, this is where you're going to use the A, B button. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle, and the first one is going to be equals sum, open bracket, square bracket of the amount, close square bracket, close normal bracket, sum of amount, and then that's just going to be total amount, left a T there, and then another one, another A, B box to do total VAT, so equals sum, open bracket, square bracket, VAT, square bracket closed, normal bracket closed. So that's going to be total VAT, total VAT, and then the last one is going to be sum of total equals sum, open bracket, square bracket for the total field, close square bracket, close normal bracket, and this is amount owed. Amount owed. Let's have a look at that, see if I've done the formulas correctly. Yeah, they're correct, but they're not formatted, so I need to format those to pounds. So if I just highlight these three, back to properties, format, and currency for those, and then they need to just be tidied up a little bit. So if I sit them all there, start there, in fact I can probably do a range and stacked. That makes it look a little bit better. Like so. Let's have a quick look. Design, view, invoice number required. Okay, that looks okay. There's not much of a gap there, so I need to widen that a little bit. Back into design, highlight them, just knock them all down a bit. Now, these boxes don't need to be this big, so I can bring them in too much. But I need to isolate these ones, do it one at a time, which is annoying. Okay, that worked. So then I drew a little grey rectangle for these to sit into, made it grey, format, paint pot grey, and then I moved these on top of that and they disappeared. So I need to arrange like so. So what I should have done is coloured those in before I did that. It doesn't matter for this. Now what I now need to do is work out the total student numbers. So another A, B. So this is just going to be equals sum square bracket student numbers with an S, close square bracket, close the sum bracket. So then that's going to be total students. Let's have a quick look. So we've got 12 students, that's correct on this particular invoice. So that doesn't look great, so I'd have those coloured grey as well, but I'm not going to do that in this session. So now what I want to do is work out what the price is per student. So 12 divided into 1,000 is what I want to do. So another A, B box, and then this is going to be price per student. And now what I am going to do is call this something. So I've clicked onto this box and I'm just going to use students, if it'll let me use that, and this one needs to be total. Okay, now I should better use that. So this is going to be equals square bracket total, close square bracket, divide by students in square brackets, and then this needs to be formatted to wrong bracket, square bracket. This needs to be formatted to currency over here, currency. Let's have a look. Okay, it's coming currency, but that's not the right amount, so let's go back into design and have a quick look. Let's have a quick. Okay, that should be amount, not total, because total is that one, so it's doing that. So let's change that. In fact, I've called that amounts. I've changed that to amount, so let's just put this to amounts. Okay, let's have a look. Invoice number 11. Oops. 83 it should be. That's correct. So that's 83. So the formula is now working. So you can then make that look like this side with a rectangle if you want. Let's quickly do that. Draw a rectangle. Color it. Format grey. And then send it to the back. And then tidy these up. And then the last thing that I've done is I've inserted a logo, which has already been done elsewhere. That's why it's sitting there, otherwise you'd have to browse for it. So I can just draw that in there like so. And then I drew an A-B box, which is a text box just to put my company name. It's Easy Software Training. And then I want to come down. If I press enter, that just finishes this, but I want to come down. If you do control and enter, it will come down a line. Metropolitan House, control and enter. Gateshead, control and enter. NE 163AS. That'll do. Just make that bold. Control B, making it bold. Now, obviously, I don't want all these boxes on there, so you can highlight these, and you've got border hairline. You can change that, or border style. You need to change that to transparent, and then we do that for these as well. So there's no boxes. Border style, transparent, and the same for these. Oops. Probably have to move. I'll just try it now. Border style, transparent for everything. I'll say do everything at once. See what that looks like. Okay, so we've got rid of the boxes. Now it's looking a bit loose, so you probably maybe want to shade this in a bit. Now we're in layout view, or we're not in layout view, we're in view. If you went into layout view, that would show you if there's any page linkage, which there is there, look. So that box and that needs to come across, so I'll just go back into design. Back into design to move that across. Get rid of this. So the whole thing needs to come across a bit. And then that's made that go funny, so let's just undo that. See, I can move it as a block. Yeah, got it. And then bring this page in a bit. Have another look. View, invoice number, layout. So this is sitting out here. So I need to get that sorted out, because otherwise this is going to drop onto 2 pages. So back into design, back into pull this across. Oops. And see what that looks like. Let's go straight into layout view. Okay, that's sorted it out a bit. Now what does it look like as an invoice? So go design, view, print preview. Okay, it's not tidied up, but you get the ideas. So if I close print preview and close this report too, and I'll just call it, yes I do, I'll just call it test for now. And then what you do is you create a button to open up that report. So on this form, if I go into design on this form and design again, command button. So I draw a button, doesn't matter how big it is, report operations, preview, next, select the report, test, and preview report or preview test, you just type that in there, and next, and then finish. And then highlight those, go to arrange, stacked, nice and neat, and then back to design, view, test it, click into invoice number 11, yep, there she blows, close it, test it again, invoice number 3, don't know what that is, there isn't an invoice number 3. Okay, so now we need to test it because invoice 1, invoice 1, yeah, there is, there's the detail. So now you're looking at why there's not an invoice number 3, but it doesn't matter for this. You've tested it and it works okay. So that's the end of this little bit. So then I'm just going to get rid of that. The next session, we'll start looking at sending this. When you click this button, instead of previewing the invoice, I'll still leave that one there, but this button maybe will be send email to client directly. And we'll start looking at a macro and how you can attach that macro to a command button. But that's the end of this session. So hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for your time. In this session, we're going to look at how to create a statement for your clients and how to add additional contacts into your contacts table. So first of all, let me open the statement report. It's asking for an invoice number, type 11. So this is the statement that I've created, account statement, and what I've done is just added not due or overdue formulas like that. So this particular invoice is not due because the date was the 20th of August. This one is 30 days overdue because it was in July. That's what we're going to do first of all. So if I quickly show you how I did that, let's get out of there, create a new one. So what I will do is I will copy the actual invoice one. That's what I did. Copy that and then just Control V, paste it, and then just change the name to statement 1 for this. Okay to that, and then if I just right click on that option, and then I can get myself into design of this, and then I need to do my little formula box which will work out if this invoice is overdue or not. So what I need is an AB box at the top which will give me a formula. I'm just going to draw it very roughly, quite a big box because it's going to be quite a long statement. I don't need that label. You could have that label if you wanted to. So what I need to do is do the if statement, immediate if, IIF. So IIF, open bracket. So this is the trigger cell, date of training. So if date of training, which has to go inside square brackets, date of training is greater than the now function, which is today's date, the computer date, now, or I could have used date, but I'll just use now, minus 30, so that'll be within 30 days. If that's true, I want it to say not due yet, and that has to go in quotes, comma, instead of doing a false, another if, IIF, open bracket. So then if date of training, hopefully I'm not doing any typos here, if date of training, square bracket closed, is greater than the now function, open and close bracket, minus 60, this is going to be, comma, 30 days overdue. So in quotes, 30 days overdue. Close quotes, comma, and then the final one, if IIF, not IFF, date of training is greater than the now function, open and close bracket, minus 90, that's going to be 60 days overdue. Like so, comma, and now I am going to do the false. So if all that's not true, it must be over 90 days due. So I'll put that over 90 days due. Late, in fact, I'll put. Now, then I have to close the if brackets. So I've got 1, 2, 3 ifs, and then hopefully I've not done a typo, didn't get an error message. Click view, type in an invoice number 11, not yet due, 60 days overdue. So is that about right? I think so, because that's the 1st of September today. 1st of September to tomorrow, so that is right. That's right, yeah. So I'm going to go and change that to the 1st of August, see what happens. Let's just close this down. Just need to check these work. Yes, I do want to save that. So if I go back to my bookings form and let's change this to August, 1st of August. So that is that going to be overdue? Let's have a quick look back to my report. Statement 1, invoice number 11. No, it's 30 days overdue, just 30 days overdue. That's okay, that works. So now what you need to do is just tidy this up a little bit. If I go back into there and go back into design, I can make this box a lot smaller now the formula works. And I can also get rid of the actual box around it. I will colour it grey so it's like the other ones. Make it bold so it stands out. And then I need the property sheets on so I can get rid of border style, transparent. Let's have a quick look, see if that's got rid of it. Invoice 11. Yeah, so that'll do. So now I need to change it, do a label at the top for the title. That's just an A, B box. Going in there, just drawing account statement. Oops. I mean, this is what you're going to send companies, but to be honest, in my experience, no matter what you send, it's irrelevant. My payment terms are 30 days, but quite often I don't get paid on that. It's whatever the company's terms are, and if you want their work, that's what you have to adhere to. So there's the title, and then let's put the date and time. Well, the date, don't want time. Put that at the top. In fact, let's put this at the top as well. Account statement, date and time. Now I've probably gone on to a second page there, so let's have a quick look. Looks okay. Date and time 30th, yeah. But if I go into print preview, that'll tell me. Yeah, I knew that'd be the case. So let's have a look at what's gone over. The top box has gone over there, and this box. So just need to go into design again and quickly fix that. Just get rid of this. Just bring this right to the edge of that. Let's have a quick look. Print preview. Invoice 11. That's it. It's all on one page. Second page. There's no second page. Okay, it's dropping down. Second page. Let's get rid of some spaces here. If I go into design, scroll down a little bit. You won't always achieve everything on one page, but if I just move that up a little bit, see if that makes a difference. Invoice 1. Still got my second page. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much about that, but you will need to get rid of some of this space maybe if that is an issue for you. So that's how you can create a statement. Obviously the if statement is up to you how you put that and what your terms are. Mine says 30 days, so that's why I've used 30 days. And then for each invoice number, which you've already created the account statement. If you did the previous session with me, you've now got a statement that you can send them on a 30-day period if you want. Now let's close that one down. Now the other thing I want to do in this, yes I do want to save that, in this session is to create a alternative contact form. So in the form customers, at the minute there's just a list of customers. It's got the customer as a company and there's no contact information other than the email there. But what I want to do is, quite often you have more than one contact in a company and I want a sub table there. So what I've done is I've created a subform there, which you can see, but it's not actually on there at the minute. It's on this one. So now you've got a contact list. If I go forward through the records, you can see that there's different contact information. It's a separate table, and this company's got 2 contacts. It's an info email, but there's the contact details for the person that you may be talking to. So that's what this is all about. So to do this, all I've done is, if I just close this down for a second, I'll use this table to do it on. Close that. What I did was I copied the customer table and pasted it, and then I called it the alternate. So get rid of that. TBL alt customers 1 I'll put on it. So I've got that, and then there she blows into design on that one, and then I just got rid of this. I don't want all this. Well, I do want the email actually, so I'll just delete those. Yeah. Okay. Website, I don't want that because I would have already got that. Now this all depends if your table needs to have different sites. That's a different issue altogether. So sometimes you've got different contacts within the same company, and sometimes you've got different sites within the same company around the different regions. In that case, you probably would need all that details, or you could do both. And now for this example, I'm just assuming it's just different contacts. So I want contact name, telephone number, got email, and position. Let's have that. Position. And put the email one at the end. I don't want it there. So we've got contact name, contact ID. So I don't want contact ID, so I need to knock this off primary key. This is going to be alt contact ID. In fact, let me get rid of that. That just needs to stay as it is. I need to do a new field. Alt contact ID, and that needs to be the primary key. And I want to set this as an auto number. That needs to come off auto number onto just number, and then that needs to be set as the primary key. So that's how I do that. And if I could have a look at that, cannot change them at the same time. Okay, I knew that. So save. Okay, let's take that off. This is the penalties of doing a copy instead of doing it from scratch. Alright, it's because I've got some information already in here, that's why that's doing that. Now, if I set that to the primary key again, see if I can save that. Okay, I'm going to have to delete some records here. Yeah, let's get rid of those. It's only test data, doesn't matter. Primary key, There. Now I can put that to an auto number. Save. Have a look. So we're back to square one. That's great. So now I want to join this table to the customers table. Now first off, I need to go into not external data, database tools, relationship. And you can see I've got the one there. I'll just delete that. And add my new table, this one, with a 1 on it. So customer ID needs to link to customer ID. It wants to be one-to-many, create. That's great. Save that one. And then open up the customers form, this one, which is just a blank, straight input form to the input table. Go into design on that, and then make some space and add a subform, which will be this one, the table alt customers with a 1 at the end. Do I need all the fields? I don't need the ID field, so I'll just take that across and then bring that one back off. And then next, should pick up the links, customer ID. Can't see that, but it says it here. Next, don't really need a title, but let's just get rid of that and then finish. Okay, I have to have a title. Get rid of it in a minute. Don't need the letter T as a title. We need to position this where we want it to be. Probably needs to be a bit longer, and then we can go and have a look. And then we've got our details there where we can now add different people's. Don't really need that field showing, so I'm just going to delete that off. So for example, it's easy. Contact name is Steve Saxton. Telephone number 0191 blah 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 blah, whatever. Position owner. Email steve at itseasy.co.uk, say. Oops. .co.uk, and then John Brown. He can be an alternate contact, same phone number. He can be a trainer, and this is how you would do this. And then he would be John at itseasy.co.uk. Then the next person, next company, you would then fill in the same information for AMAC. And Jones 0191 blah 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 blah. Look that up. Position IT manager, and then email Anne at amac.com, and so on. So that's how you create an alternate table. So you could have created that straight off when you was doing your tables. You could have added extra fields in this table, but this gives you that option. And if you did have different sites, you could then link another table with different site addresses and different contacts sitting underneath this one. So when you select the main customer, they have their main customer contacts, and then underneath that you could have customer sites, alternate sites. It's totally up to you how you want to play that. But that's the end of this session. So on the next session, I will see you and we'll look at automating some of this, what we've already created. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you soon. And what we're going to look at in this session is how to create some extra queries, a cross-tab query and a totals query, which will give us some management information for our reports. So what have I done since the last session? Let's have a quick look. So I copied this query. I'll just run that one. That is a parameter query. If I just type an invoice number in there, that gives you the invoice details for that invoice. So I copied that and then renamed it customer booking analysis, and then all I really did was remove the parameter bit. So there's no parameter on there. And if I close that one down, if I run that one, let's have a look what that does. That just shows you everything. And then I've created this query, customer sales, which is giving me a breakdown of how many courses each customer has done and what their sales was, what the revenue was. And the other one I've done there is this cross-tab query. If I just open that one, which basically is showing you each customer and the actual course spend they've had. So you can see the course spend with a cross-tab query. And then in terms of reports, we've got customer sales, which basically is that same information as a report with a total at the bottom there and a percentage column. So you can see that the top one there is 25% of all sales is coming from Smith & Co. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's start off with the first query that will generate this report. Let's get rid of that. So I'm going to create a new query, query design, and the one I'm going to use for this is the query that I copied. So this one, so I'm just going to drag that over there. So that's got all this information in. It's just a combination of two tables that we did in an earlier version. So all I want in this first one is company. So just drag company into there. And I want courses, course, and I want amount or total amount, not amount. So that's the information. So if I run that, let's have a quick look. That's everything. But I don't want it to sit like that. I want it to be summarized. So I'm clicking on the totals option, which gives you this group by. So I want to group by company, that's correct. And I want to count courses, how many courses, and then I want to add up the money. So if I run that now, see that's come down quite a lot. This needs to be formatted to pounds. So if I just get myself onto the formatting tab, property sheet, format currency, and run that again, that should be in pounds. It is in pounds. Back to design. Now you can change the titles at the top there, because if you look at this, it's got count of courses, sum of total, which is not great. So if I just put my cursor in front of the C of courses and type courses with an S, colon, that'll rename that. And then if I click in front of total amount, I can put total amount, colon, that will then be the label, total amount courses. Now if I save this query as test, because I've already got one, I don't want to confuse myself, I can delete this one afterwards, then I can create a report on this. So close that one down, close this down, click on test, create report design, activate the property sheet, find the source, which is test, and then look at the fields. So I want company, and then the courses, and then the amount. I'll tidy this up in a minute. In fact, I'll tidy it up now actually. Just bring that up a bit. If I highlight those, I can then go to arrange and stacked, no, tabular. Yeah, let's have a quick look at that one. Okay, and then now I need to do in the report footer, I want a total, so go to report footer, and now I need to use this AB button to draw myself a box, which I can format later on. It's going to be equals sum, open bracket, of total amount, square bracket, close, typo, L, total amount. See if that's worked. Yep, just needs formatting to currency, so go back into that, back into properties, format, currency at the top, and then you can just reposition that, give it a label. Total amount. Now I want to name this box. I want to give this a name. I'll come back up. Let's go to all. It hasn't got a name at the moment. Just going to call this company total. That'll do. Company total. Because now in the detail area I can do another one, another box, which is going to be equals square bracket total amount square bracket divided by square bracket company total square bracket total amount. Yep, let's try that. Yeah, that just needs formatting to a %. Go back into design, click on this box, format as a %, and just give this a label percentage. Highlight that, just arrange and tabular, see what that looks like. Design, view, it's looking okay. Back into design. I don't want these boxes, so let's border style transparent. This needs to come across a little bit, and maybe I can make that bold and change the font slightly to a bigger size because it's company totals. Just make the box a little bit bigger, and same with that. Make it 18 and bold, make it bigger, and then you just basically, I'm not going to spend too long doing this, you just then sorting this out to make it presentable. And same with the title at the top, you can give yourself a title, so it's going to be company sales amount. Click away, change the format of that, make that size 18 and bold as well, and then you just have a look at that report, and that report then should pull off that information. A bit of a gap there, I need to sort that out, just get rid of that gap. Don't like these big gaps everywhere, so just pull these up a little bit. We'll just bang that to there, have a quick look. There we go. Still got the box around there, but that'll do for that one. And I'm not going to save that, but obviously you would, and you'd fix this as well, and that's that one. Now, not going to save it. Next is a crosstab query to repeat this one. Now, when you do a crosstab query, it's create query wizard, and it's part of this crosstab query. Okay, so I want the query bookings analysis. Let's have that one. Next, so I want company, a list of companies. Next, and let's go for course. So it's going to be a number of courses and count of course. Let's have a quick look down here. Now let's go for total and sum. So we'll have a list of courses, total and sum, and then next and finish. And then you get each course and there's the amount. Now if I go into design on this, you can see that this needs to be formatted to currency, and so does this one, I think. No, that one, currency. So you can create these cross-tab queries yourself if you have a look at them in design like this, but it's quicker to do it through the wizard, I think. So now everything is in pounds. So we could do another cross-tab query where we're looking at a list of courses and company quantities. So that's the whole point of a cross-tab query. You can have it either way, lots of different ones. And then if I just close that, I am going to save the changes I made. You don't normally have to save a cross-tab query, it just saves automatically. But I'll save the changes because I formatted it to pounds. And there it is. And just close that one off. So that's the end of this little phase, and I'll see you on the next one where we'll look at doing some more queries and some more reports to build up this CRM database. But thank you for your time, and I'll see you soon. In this module, we're going to look at creating a navigational form, a front screen for your database. So this is module 7 of the series for the CRM database. Now, at the moment, I haven't got anything on the screen, but what I'm going to do is create a form which will allow me to open up all of these features. Well, not all of them, the main one. So I want a form that will open up this, and we'll have some buttons on like this, and one that's going to run my reports, like so, account statement, and these are the 4 reports as well. So first of all, I need to create macros to do that. Now you can, I'll just quickly show you create form design. You can use the preloaded features like this, form operations, open form, next, then you pick your form, next, and then just finish. And when you look at that and click, that opens that form. But what I want to do is use macros, because macros have got a lot more flexibility when you're doing stuff like this, because although that did open the form, it didn't close this form, it's left this one open. Whereas in a macro, you can actually get it to close down things behind, so it never leaves loads of windows open. So that's what I'm going to do. And it's quite simple really, so just close that down. I won't save that just yet. Create macro, and I'm not just going to do a simple macro, I'm going to use a sub macro. Sub macro is there, and the first one is going to be open bookings. Now when you do a sub macro, you can create lots of macros that are doing the same thing. So these are all going to be opening up forms, so I'm going to create 2 macros, one to open forms, one to open reports. But these are like the containers for those macros. So open bookings with an S is what I'm going to do, and then there's going to be open form, and then it's asking you which form you want to open, and open bookings is what I want to do, and then that's all I want to do. Next one is and that one, sorry, this one, next one down, sub macro. This one's going to be open customers, and then the same process, you type open form in there, and then you select the form customers from this drop down, open form customers. And then the third one and the last one in this little bit is sub macro. So we're going to call this open customers alt, I'll call it main actually, main. And then you do the same thing, open form, find the form, customers alt, like so, and then that's it. So you save the macro as open forms, which I've already done, and then when you close that, create a new macro, create macro. So it's still going to be a sub macro, but now we're going to do sub macro, call it open what's this going to be? Statement. Let's do that one first. These are the reports we're going to do. Open statements. So it's going to be open report, and then you select the statement, customer statement, then a new sub macro, open report. Second one is going to be customer invoice, and then sub macro again. This one's going to be open customer sales, open report, and select customer sales. And then the last one is sales funnel. So sub macro, open sales funnel, and then you open report again and select the report sales funnel. So that's the 4 I want, and then you can save this as open reports. So basically, rather than creating 7 different macros, I've created 2 macros, and I'm going to call them cabinets to store macros that do basically the same thing. Open either a form or report. Now, what I would normally do as well is, instead of ending each of these macros, I would close down the form that they're coming from. So in this case, main menu, I'm going to create a form called main menu. So each one of these would have an extra step, close main menu. Same with the forms as well, but I've not done that for now. Just want to show you the process. So close these macros down. You need to add those buttons onto a main menu form and then attach the macros to the main menu buttons. So let's create a form. Create form design. Now we'll draw the button exactly the same as you would if you're going to use the wizard, but now you go in miscellaneous and then run macro. And when you go next, there's your open forms macro, and then 1, 2, 3 there. Open reports 1, 2, 3 there. So that all the items are there. So instead of having lots and lots of different macros, you've just got them all encased in here. So I'll do the bookings first. So this is going to be open bookings. So just call it bookings for this. And next, you can just finish it there actually. Let me do another one. So miscellaneous, run macro, next, open customers. So I'll just call that customers. Be a bit more careful with the labeling. And then the last one for forms, miscellaneous, run macro, next, customers main. And then next, customers main, finish, and then we do the reports. So that's the 3 forms, and now we do the 3 reports, miscellaneous, run macro, next. So the first one is going to be statement, next, just call that statements. Statements, next, finish, and then next one is going to be miscellaneous, run macro, next, sales, call it sales, finish, and then last one is going to be the sales funnel, miscellaneous, run macro, sales funnel, call it funnel, and finish. And then you tidy this up, highlight these 3, select a range, stacked, highlight these 3, select stacked, and then we go and check, view, bookings works, customers works, customers main works, statements, ask for an invoice number, statements work, sales works, and funnel works. So they all work. Now you need to save this as main menu. Save main menu, and then you've got that set ready to go. Now what I would normally do is, because what's going to happen is when I click on bookings, it leaves main menu open. What I should have done is got the macro to close main menu on the back of these. So if I just go into the bookings one and try and do that, so open forms it was, if I right click, design view, so this is open form bookings, so there we need new action, so we need to close, not database, window, so it asks me which window to close, so therefore I'm going to say it's a form and it is the main menu, and that's all I want to do. So if I now save this, and I will do the same for each of these sub macros as well, close that. So what should happen now when I click bookings, it opens bookings, but it's got rid of the main menu. And then what you need to have on here is another macro that will close this form and reopen the main menu. So you have a place to go and a place to come back to, but always tidying up behind yourself, because remember, when you enter data in a table or a form, it is not actually in the database until you tab off to a new record or close the form or table down. So by doing these buttons where you're tidying up behind yourself, you are actually doing that, so you keep it nice and tidy. So I will go back into the design on this one, and I'll create a macro to close this and open the main menu. So just one last thing to do, macro. This is going to be open form, main menu, and close window on the forms bookings. So form bookings, customer bookings, that one. So I'll save this as a macro, proper save. So I've not saved these correctly, so I should have said MCR. So MCR macro. So what's it doing? It's open main and close bookings. I'll put it as, and then you can read by putting the capital letters in there. I think it's easier to read. Don't like spaces, remember, so let's not use spaces. Okay to that, and then close that, and if I go to the customer bookings form in design, I can just do another button that's going to do exactly what I want it to do. So miscellaneous macro next. So it's macro open. No, it's not that one. It's the second one down. Open main, that's one I did earlier. Open main, close bookings. That's why I do it like that, so I can read what it's actually doing. And then next. So I'll just need to call this main menu, and then that's job done. And finish. Highlight these. Get them arranged, tidied up. Save the form. Have a look. So main menu opens it and closes up behind me. So if I go to bookings, closes main menu, if I come back, it does this. So you can see by doing it like that, you are keeping yourself nice and tidy, and there's not going to be loads and loads of windows open at the top, which when you first use Access, and I've seen it on lots of students, they tend to do that. Even though I'm saying to them all the time, close the windows, do Control W closes the windows, key command, they still don't do it because there's a habit you have to get into, and you end up with lots and lots of tabs open, and therefore potentially with data not in the database properly. So by doing these macro buttons, which are quite simple in Access, you are not going to fall into that trap. So that's the end of this session. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. What I want to cover in this module is how to adjust the navigation pane to make more sense and group these things together to make it nice and tidy, so you can pick things up if you need to make adjustments very quickly. Also to make this form open up automatically on when you do file open. So first of all, this navigation pane, I want to right click at the top there and you can see you've got categories. It's selected to object type at the moment. You can sort, you can view, but where I want to go is navigation options. So you've got on the left hand side, you've got some groups. That's the one it's on at the minute, and then all the bits and bobs that's in there, objects, and then custom, and then you can add your own. So if I add it's easy, and then you need to add groups with inside that. So in fact, I should have called that CRM, but it doesn't matter. So I'll call this one sales. So everything to do with sales will go in there. Tables, queries, forms and reports. And call this one customers. And so we've got sales, customers. What else can I have? Marketing. Yeah, let's have one for marketing. And status can go in there, looking at that. Customers, bookings can go in there, and that'll do, I think. Just those three things, and then unassigned objects for anything that's left over, like main menu. So click OK to that. And then if I go to It's Easy, you get these. So I'll just do that again, it was a bit quick. So it was on object type. So I've now gone to It's Easy because I've created my own. And then I need to allocate these to the various groups. So you just basically drag and drop. You see you get a little shortcut arrow. So it's a shortcut you're creating there. And then customers can go in there. Marketing goes into marketing, obviously. So it's not just status can go into there as well. And sales. So we want sales funnel can go into sales, customer sales, queries. No, it's and anywhere. Let's go bookings will go in there as well, I suppose. And you may well have to go back into it, and so forms, bookings for forms in there. Customers into there, the form. Customers into the customers area, another form. Now these subforms I'm just going to leave, so some of these are customer booking analysis, that's going to go into sales. Crosstab query is going to go into sales. You get the idea, and you're just moving these things into the relevant places. Same with reports, customer statement, it's going to go in customers. Now that's, you've got tables, queries, or tables and forms and reports. And obviously customer invoice, that's going to go in customers. Customer sales is going to go in sales, or it could go in customers. It depends what that is. And then sales funnel, it's going to go in sales. And now you can collapse all these down and keep it nice and tidy. And you're left with these unassigned objects. Obviously bookings probably goes in customers. Tutoring courses, lookup tables, they can stay there, I think. Subforms can stay there. And then these macros, that's bookings, let's put that into bookings, so that's going to go into sales. And then reports is going to go into, well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I suppose these are unassigned, I'll leave them as unassigned. But that's how you create your own little navigation pane. So you've got sales, customers, marketing, and these unassigned. You don't want a load of things in this unassigned. I usually just have one or two, main menu being one. Now the other thing I wanted to do was to show you two ways of getting the main menu to open up on startup. So first one, if I go into file options and then current database, you can display form when you open it, main menu. So every time you open this, it will open this main menu. It's telling me that I need to close the database, which I'm not going to do, but that will open every time. So just go back and take that off because I don't want that to do that. Main menu, put it back to nothing. Okay. What I normally would do is create a macro. So I'm going to create a macro and save this macro as auto exec like that, that will run automatically on file open. So open form, main menu, and then let's go for maximize window. So open form, main menu, maximize window, save, close, and just open a different database. And I won't bother doing that. I'll just cancel that, and then go back and to open that one. CRM, main menu opens up full screen because the macro run automatically on open. So that's the end of this little session. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. In this module, I'm going to look at how to create an update query that will look at information on a form. This is the last session I'm going to do on a contact tracing database. All the rest are in the same playlist as this one will be. So what I've done is I've added this extra field, test use. So that's in this contacts table. If I just get into there. So I just added a field, a number field. And then I've created a second table there, test kits. If I just open that, and I've set this up. I've set this up so it's got a calculated field in here. So that's a calculated field. If I put in there 10, it knocks 10 off. That's what it's set up for. So I'll just put that back to 0. That message came up there because there was a conflict, because I've got a query running off the back of this, and what I've added is a macro to do this automatically. So what I'm going to do is just go into design on this table and show you what I've done there. So the calculated field is this one, and then you can see the calculation at the bottom there. So kits in stock minus kits used, which is these two. That's all that is. So I'll just close that off. So I want that table to be updated by any tests that are used on this form. So there's a person who's got a positive test, so he must have used a test. So if I put one test in there, and then when I click away from that, if I just tab off that, it's going to run an update query. Yes. I'm going to update one record. Yes. And if I go into the table, you can see it's done that. Let's took one off. So there's now 4,999. So that's what I'm going to redo, so you can see how I've done that. So first off, I'll need to delete this. So I'll go back into design, get rid of that. So that's gone. And I'll get rid of the query, the update query that I did, where that worked. So that's gone. And I'll get rid of the macro that I did, which is an update macro. Yeah, got rid of all three things. So first of all, I need to create a field for these tests. And on the property sheet, control source is going to be the kits used, and then I'll just need to change this label to kits used. Oops, kits used. Oh, tests used. And then just shift that on top of there. Save the form. Have a look. Okay, so that works all right. I'll come back down into design. Now I need to name this. So if I go to all, I'll get myself to the top of this list. So the name, not the label name, I'm just going to call this tests. So that's going to be called tests, which it is. Now I can refer to that now in a query. So what I'm going to do now is create an update query. So I'll go to create query design, and I want an update query. Just get rid of these for a second. So the table I want is this one, and the field I want to update is kits used. So I want to update it, so I'm going to go Shift F2, which will zoom that up. So what do I want to update? I want to update kits used. I could have used the expression builder plus the kits used from the form. So basically I need to go forms, and then I have to refer to the forms that I want. So it's going to be FRM contact tracing square bracket close, and then the field is tests. That's what I've called it. So that's what when you type anything in tests, it wants to add it on to kits used, and then kits remaining will tell you what you've got left based on what was in stock. So just make sure there's no typos there. Contact tracing, that's why you should use the expression builder really, so you can just select things as opposed to type in it. So if I save this now as QRY update, okay, just close that for a minute. So there's your update query, and then on the form you've got some figures here. I'll just change that to 500. Press tab, and then if I run the update, it's telling me I'm going to run an update query. I'm going to update one row, and then if I go into the, you can see it's taken the kits off, or has it? So I'm just going to put this back to 0. So it's now back at 5,000, and if I go and change this to 500, so when I type 500 in there, I just need to click onto a different cell, not tab onto a new record, so different cell. And now if I run this query, yes, yes, and then if I open the table, test kits, there's the 500 spent. I'll just turn the sound off on this. So whichever field you're in, so if I'm on the next record and go to the next one, whichever one I'm in, so if I put 1 in this field and then click away and then run the query, it should just add 1 to it. If I have a look at test kits, it's just added 1 to it. So it's only updating that field, which is what I want, because I'm going to put a macro on this field that will just run this when you click off it. We'll just update that field. So now if I go back into this form, just label this up, kits used. Shove that onto there for a minute. Save that. Now I want to create a macro that's going to attach itself to this field. So create macro, and it's just going to be open query, not open form, open query. The query is going to be update. No, it's not going to be update, it's going to be QRY update. That one. That can all stay as it is. So I'll save this macro as MCR update. Okay, close the macro, back to the form. So I need to be into properties now, and event is going to be an event. So on lost focus, so when it's clicked off, I want it to do update. Just save that. Right, now, so this should, let's test this out. So if I get myself, let's go forward a bit until one we haven't done. So it's just got 1 kit used. So let's say they use 1,000 kits for some weird reason. When I click off that record, so if I click off that record, it's going to run the update query, 1 row, yes. So if I go to test kits, Let's put 1,000 on there, 1,500. Close that down. So if I go into the new record, it's not used any kits there. So if I do 500 and just click away from the 500 into a different cell, yes, yes, open test kits. Now it's 2001, so it is updating correctly. Now the problem I might have here is if I want to, let's go into a new record. So they haven't got any kits. So if I put another 1,000 there, so when I click away anywhere on this form, that's going to be updated. But what happens if I press tab? Yes, yes, open. It still did it, that's okay. So as long as it does it for the one you're on and not the next one you go to, that's what you just got to check. Otherwise you'd have to go back into properties and change it to a different category instead of lost focus, something else on after update or whatever. But basically that's all I want to talk about in this little session, and that's the end of this contact tracing database series. So that is creating an update query that's updating input from this form to populate this table and telling you got your kits remaining. So this then would have to be a report giving you some information, or you maybe put it onto the front screen so you know how many kits you've got, or a main menu maybe. You maybe just attach it, put it there, embed it there so you've got an actual running total on your main menu, and have main menu opening up every time when you open the database. But that's, like I said, that's all I want to talk about for now, so I'll see you on the next one.